What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the top of the map in the purple color, playing as Zeus. His name is Player. His partners today, to his right, to his left, because left would be this way, right? To his left, in the red color playing as Ra, his name is Gold Lion, and to his right in the blue color playing as Loki, his name is Squash, and together they make the team fade to their opponents today. In the yellow color playing as Uranus, his name is Moore. His partners today in the sky blue color playing as Ra, his name is Chemo, and finally rounding out this team composition in the green color playing as Loki, his name is Ulysses. You guys might think that this map looks a little bit familiar because it does look very familiar to a map named Ghost Lake. However, if we hit this follow world button, where's the Ghost Lake? There is no Ghost Lake. It is called Ghost Land. Ghost Land because there is land and there are ghosts in that land. Yes. Ghost Land. It's time to see how things are going to go here in this game. We do have a slight change here in the Fade 2 composition, deciding instead of going with Uranus here on this one, they're going to be going with the Ra. So obviously having a little bit of trouble against the Ra last game, subbing out GMs for Gold Lion here. This is a clan tournament, so these teams have got subs out the wazoo. Fade 2 have got, I can't remember all the players. They've got Icaro, they've got Gold Lion, they've got GMs, they've got I can't remember all the other players. There's so many good players. I just want to take this time to just say, my God, are we blessed and lucky to have this level of Age of Mythology played in 2023. This game is so old and these guys are so insanely good at the game. This is like this, and it's a team game. So if you take every one of these players in their own right, they are all sitting at a rating of around 1900 or more. You could argue that Squash is like a 2K player. You could argue that Ulysses and Chemo and Moore are sitting like 1950 to 2K. You can say Player, he's been around forever. He's been at the 2K level. These guys are so insanely good at this game, and I'm so excited and so happy to be seeing them still playing this game and giving some ridiculously fun entertainment for everyone to watch. However, we're gonna be checking out everything here. So let's check out the relics, because why not? We do see the nose of the Sphinx here, extra building hit points on this location. We've got the Anvil of Hephaestus over here, negative 10% armory and Dwarven armory, reduction of resources. Over here we see the Boots of Kick Everything. That's a huge relic here for Ulysses to grab. You can see he's already throwing up his temple. I mean, this is relatively new for sorry, not new. This is relatively, how do you say? Standard temple timing. Standard temple timing. That's what I'm trying to say. But he's going to be able to get this relic, and he's going to be having a really, really fun time in this game. As you can see, well, you should be seeing a Hersa coming out here soon as the villagers eating up that hunt over there. Game continuing along. We're seeing the temple coming down a little bit late here for Chemo. Chemo is known for these kinds of builds in team games and even in 1v1s where he's like, I'm not going to leave my base. I'm going to eat my berries and I'm going to jump onto my pigs and I'm going to advance really late, and you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to enjoy it. And essentially what this means is that Ulysses is going to have access to Chemo's hunt here. So he's going to have access to the Aurochs over here, and maybe Moore ate the hunt or something. I don't know where it is. Maybe he's already eaten it. I don't know. But there is an Auroch over here that Chemo could eat, or someone could eat as well. So we'll see how things are going to go. Car coming through right now. It is seeming like a relatively late advance for Gold Lion as well. Oftentimes when you advance this late with Ra, you do have two options. You can go for 2 town centers straight away, like 1, 2, or you can just get the 1 town center and see how it all shapes out with a little bit more economy, a little bit more farms and things like that with an earlier heroic age. So you can see the Hersa moving forward, going to grab Anvil of Hephaestus as well as Boots of Kick Everything. I love this from Ulysses. He prioritizes these relics really early, and this is going to come in to help him out a ton as this game goes on. And if anybody is unaware, this relic, when Loki gets the opportunity to make Hersa and not get under crazy amounts of pressure really makes the Loki units unstoppable, going up to like 6 point something speed, 6.2 something, 6.24 speed can be really strong. So we see the Longhouse getting dropped down by Squash here. He's got his wall set up on this gold mine, making sure that the towers are nice and safe. I love this use of the wooden walls next to this gold mine. Really wants to make sure he's not going to get wiped off the map here, as looks like player is just going for a standard fast second town center here. I still find this I find this type of play a little bit bizarre from the Zeus players in team games, because Zeus is so strong when going one town center that you can just, if you have a Ra, you don't have to worry about the Ra being left alone, because you can just kind of go for the one town center, go in tandem with the Loki player, move around with the Loki player, their Hersa, and you can be completely fine. But now we're starting to see Ulysses getting a couple of hits there onto those villages of players. Already got himself his Odysseus and his Jason out, so those Hersa will need to pull back ever so slightly while we wait for everything to come through. Are we seeing some upgrades? We are seeing Squash getting himself an early pickaxe here. A little bit surprising to see that, to be honest. Squash going for a pickaxe here this early. Does he already have Hall of Thanes? No, so he just prefers the early pickaxe over the Hall of Thanes. So we'll see how that's all going to go. As I guess he realizes against the Uranus, he just wants to play defensive at the start of the game. As Ulysses pulling away, he's taking a lot of damage here. Chemo's Rain coming in. He's got his 2 town centers, nice farms getting set up over here. He's going to be completely fine here. Same too for Goldline. He's got his farm set up. He's going to be advancing fairly soon as well. As player pulls back into his base right now, and we see Squash moving over here in an attempt to defend, but that's just going to entice more to get over here and try and put some pressure onto this location here, as it seems like Team Alliance is going to be shaping up to have just a slight advantage going forward here, as that Miller here getting taken down. If a player was a little bit more aware, he could have helped out with that Odysseus, but he's a little bit playing that one a little bit slowly. But we are seeing now Squash pulling back. He needs to get that what do you call it? Healing spring up to heal up that Jason back up to full HP, as well as those Hersa could drop that inside of player's base and be completely fine. Meanwhile, we are seeing some raids now coming in, hitting Squash's dwarves at this point. Nice play from Moore getting these hits in, but Squash not overreacting at all, just utilizing that troll to hold here, as we do see the rain coming through for Gold Lion here, as more Hersa going to be popping out for Squash. He's still out of position. He still hasn't, or he has got himself now Hall of Thanes. And does he lose the Hersa? Yes, he does. As that goes down, we're still seeing more going to try and put pressure onto Squash. Squash still taking this one slowly. He's not pulling off this gold mine. He could move over here onto this gold mine, but he's deciding against that. There is these villagers here pulling back. This Ulfsark a little bit out of position as well, going to be making a retreat through the wood line. Nice play here from Squash, as we do see some villagers have been picked off by player, as this wooden wall is going to be getting taken down here. Looking into this temple here, going to be taking this out as well, as the units pushing in onto this position. The troll going to be throwing the rocks here. We see the villagers almost getting taken down, so these units just slowly retreating away here. Completely fine, doing all the good stuff. As we see this granary, I mean, just getting little bits of chip damage. Loki is all about trying to get as much favor and as much favor as they possibly can to get as many myth units as they possibly can. So picking off all those buildings is always going to be a good idea here, as we do see the wall getting thrown up by Squash. He's still playing very defensively here. He can't really take this fight, trying to micro that Hersa back, but he does get body blocked by his buddies there, as he does lose that one. Gets a couple of return hits there, but nothing too much to worry about here for Squash. He's got tons of goats remaining in his base, so he's going to be completely fine. We do see the watchtower is up on this location, so that's going to be enough to defend him for the time being here, as Squash still under some pressure. We see the third town center coming up for Gold Lion here at this point. Chemo is getting his own third town center as well. Both Chemo and Gold Lion playing this one very, very similarly. Very, very defensively. We see the Migdol up now for Chemo, as we see Gold Lion with a handful of Axemen out at this point. I'm not sure I like that all too much. Really, the Ra players should be looking to deal with the enemy Ra players in these situations. and allow the Loki player to deal with the Loki player or the Zeus player to deal with the Loki player. And you're going to be much, much better. Those Axemen are going to be fairly useless in this game against what Chemo's going to be doing here. As Squash coming in to try and double Ulysses or try and help out players. Now 2 town centers. He's in a good position. Ulysses and Moore still sitting at 1 town center. We are seeing the town center coming up now as Chemo is going to be dropping his market. But I'm a little bit worried about Alliance's economy here. I don't feel like they've really done the damage that they need to do thus far. And Squash is getting himself this 2nd town center. He's going to be thinking about farms fairly soon, and he's going to be stuck in the classical age for just a little bit here, it would seem, as we are seeing Chemo now pushing in. It is actually really important for Loki players to get 2 town centers when their opponents have a Ra on their team. Otherwise, the Tornado just does too much damage to them, and then the Loki just ends up being completely useless here. As more coming around the side here, we do see that the Oracle has spotted this one, so that's going to be a little bit of a difficult situation here for Squash to be in, as firstly, his Ulfsark might get picked off here, but also his gold mine villages over here, a little bit out of position. We're seeing those 6.14 speed Ulysses, Hersa, they can just run straight in. We are seeing Squash able to chase down this more army, getting some damage done, gets an Einhyar spawn here, as the Hersa decide, nope, let's not walk through here just yet. These dwarves here making a retreat out of this location. A nice little play there from Squash, not going to lose any villages there as the hoplites come over here to defend. Big Locust getting dropped down onto Squash's villages there, picks off nearly every one of them. Beautiful Locust by Chemo as the Hersa come through, going to try and deal with those Wadgets as Chemo's not paying attention anymore. Meanwhile, those red units searching around inside of inside of Ulysses' base, trying to stop the gold villagers from gathering here as Bragi's going to be coming through for Ulysses. He's in a very, very good position, not having to farm and getting to that next age as we see the town center coming up for Squash here as the hoplites trying to defend over here, but it seems like there's just too many units here for Ulysses, and more big shockwave there as Squash, he needs to get over there and defend that one there, as it looks like the rock has been picked off by the Odysseus. Nice play there by player as more units circling in onto this position. We are now seeing Chemo coming through here with his cavalry, able to deal with Gold Lion's cavalry. He's got pure cavalry at this point. This is such a beautiful composition here for Chemo to have, and I would imagine that Chemo is going to be hitting the Mythic Age at around about 13 minutes here coming up, or 13:30. You have to imagine that his economy is absolutely gigantic at this point, given everything happening, as there's the reverse, the return Locust taking down a ton of Ulysses villages. That's making things incredibly equal here for Alliance versus Fate 2, for the 2 Loki players feeling all of the pain here as this game is continuing along. Those Axemen trying to deal with those Herso there, as now we're going to see Chemo attempting to put some pressure onto Gold Lion to slow him down. Gold Lion in a really good position, actually. That Batsukos is going to be a big help. The Migdol going to be helping out a ton as well, as the cavalry are going to start their massing here. We'll see if Gold Lion can get out enough Batsukos to be holding here nicely. Meanwhile, the Herso trying to come on over onto this position to deny this town center, but there are plenty of Herso for Squash. Squash is going to want to grab these Caribou as well. That's some nice hunt there, as we are seeing this Einhyar getting taken down. We are seeing the Hoplite coming through here. There is still a restoration here. Apollo on the way now for player. Player's in a really good spot here. Player is in a really good spot. He's got 2 town centers. He hasn't really lost too many villages thus far, and he's going through Apollo in a good position. That underworld is going to be a game-changing underworld. You'd have to expect more. On the other hand, he's also been relatively untouched now in this game thus far. That means that he should be able to be hitting his timings here perfectly. 15-minute Mythic Ages, for example, are a very real thing here for the 3 town center Orano. So he has lost a lot of units, so maybe looking more at like the 16-minute-ish advance. Is he already in the Heroic Age? No, he's going to be advancing relatively soon here, though, you'd have to assume, as we are seeing Chemo going through Horus, and he will be hitting that Horus very, very soon. And this is scary for Squash. Squash is 3 town centers, though, so he might be okay here, given that Horus is going to come through. But we are seeing Ulysses and Chemo saying, look, let's just attack Gold Lion here. A Tornado on this position here is going to allow Ulysses or Chemo to grab this town center and have a very, very very nice time here. And I do like the idea of doubling the Ra at this point, not allowing the Ra to really get everything that he wants to, as player needs to get over here and defend. He's bringing in his hoplites to deal with those enemy cavalry. That's going to be a big help here. He's also got his heroes to help out against those battle boar to boot, but there is going to be a flaming weapons to come through from Ulysses, as well as a tornado. So we'll see how that's all going to shape up as the siege works, getting taken down. The town center going to fall as well here. And we'll see how things are going to come. We are seeing Squash saying, look, I don't care about what's happening over there. I'm going to go for the main base of Ulysses here, as Squash decides, yep, let's click the flaming weapons here. This town center getting taken down. Ulysses is going to click flaming weapons to kill off the Gold Lion town center even faster here. And we are simply just going to see Gold Lion retreating away. We've got the underworld coming in onto this position as well, as Ulysses, he's going to lose both of his town centers right now, and there is no way to hold this here. We do not have restoration because player went for Athena here, as it looks like, sorry, not Athena, Hermes here, so no restoration, but the town center will indeed fall on this position, will indeed fall. The villagers all getting massacred here by Squash as he's pushing in onto these villages. The villagers deciding to turn around and take this fight, but those Herso do so much damage, and that's going to be a ton of myth unit spawns. He gets the mountain giant spawn as well here. You got to micro that if your name is Squash, but he is not microing that as the Herso come back in to try and defend. This town center is getting closer and closer to getting picked off. We see the tornado coming in onto this position that will pick off the underworld passage and pick off the fortified town, the town center that he's got no upgrades here. But it looks like the town center moves, not the town center, the tornado moves the wrong way here, and Gold Lion's town center is going to be surviving, but the underworld passage has been picked off. These units here should be getting dealt with fairly easily by Ulysses, but Ulysses is down to 0 town centers. It's not game over for Ulysses just yet. He's got a very small amount of villages remaining, sitting at roughly like 25, 26 villages there, but he's going to be okay here. He's got Chemo. Chemo's big. Chemo's got resources up the wazoo. Moore's going to have resources up the wazoo, as well as player is going to be moving over here to try and take this town center. But Moore, he's in here. He sees the town center. He's sending villagers forward. He's going to be making this very difficult for player to make it work. There may be a time here that ceasefire should be used. Grab this town center, let the lull happen. But it looks like Chemo grabbing this one is going to make that not so easy here, as Hephaestus is coming through, just about to pop here for player, as Squash is going through tier. Now, after all is said and done, Squash did lose some villages in the early game, but he's been untouched for like the past five minutes, and he's been on 3 town centers, so his economy is going to be gigantic here, as Squash going to attempt to hold this position. He needs some units over here, but it looks like his production is really low here. He's only got the longhouse and the temple, 2 longhouses and a temple. He's not really able to produce units all too well at this point, as Gold Lion, he's still fine, but he needs to prevent this town center from going up. And the problem here is that he's sitting still in the heroic age, so he's going to be having some very, very difficult times ahead of him as the Avengers pushing in here. Now, we will be seeing the Bellerophon coming in. We will be seeing the Colossus coming through to help out, but whether or not that's going to be enough is the real question here, as Moore's going to start dropping his sky passages all across the map. Moore is one of the best players piloting Uranus with the sky passage usage, and in team games, sky passages are invaluable. You put a sky passage over here, you put a sky passage over here, you put a sky passage over here. You can move across the entirety of the map very, very easily. But it looks like after all that damage was done, Ulysses now going to get hit with that Thimble Winter as well, hitting the main base. Oh, so many dead villages there as the gold mine does expire. But Ulysses, he's got some problems he needs to deal with. After this Thimble Winter, we will probably be seeing a little bit of an advantage coming through here for Team Fade 2 against Alliance on this position. We'll see how it's all going to go. We are seeing player throwing down some military academies on this location here to try and push through as the villagers pop in onto this position here, trying to get that town center up as fast as they possibly can. That was a really smart sky passage to bring the villagers forward incredibly quickly. Now we're going to be starting to see more building fire siphons to push through this location as fast as he possibly can. He does have some good upgrades, armor upgrades there, as well as Osiris on the way now for Gold Lion. Might be able to change the flow of this game ever so slightly. There is also going to be that ceasefire here for Gold Lion to get this up if he so chooses. We're still not seeing that come through for player. Player might want to get this town center down before anything else happens here. And we do see player utilizing the ceasefire now. Fade 2 realizes, look, it's fine. Chemo is at 4 town centers because he's taken Ulysses town center. So technically, Chemo Ulysses on 3 town centers. More is at 4 town centers, but Squash has got Hephaestus, so Squash technically can push back through the 4 town center Oranos, given some smart play. So while Alliance has got the town center advantage for the meantime, being able to hold the town center advantage is another question. And I think this wall here says it all. Petropolis in this location, that's going to be a dead town center. However, if Moore can get out enough of these Fire Siphon, he's going to be able to hold here for quite some time. So we'll see if Moore's going to know how to hold this 4 town center to 2 town center advantage. And if Chemo's economy is going to be able to support the 4 town centers that he has here. Now, normally when you go 4 town centers, what you actually want to do when you take your opponent's 4th town center, what you actually want to do is utilize that for 20 population of trade and be sending your partner gold so they don't have to trade. So effectively you're trading for your partner as it is. And that can be a really, really good way to play. Not only that, you also get the mercenary to be spammed from that town center onto the front. So it's actually a really good way to make that work. As the Son of Osiris moving forward here, going to be zapping down those cavalry here nicely. We'll see how it's all going to shape up as Chemo or Ulysses decides, yeah, better retreat back. Ulysses might want to start filling up the middle of the map a little bit, utilizing the Norse power spikes where that's concerned. Whoops, as I'm trying to move onto this location, we see the champion Murmillo after through for more. More is absolutely gigantic, but Squash, he should be able to hold here, most likely. If he can get some upgrades in, he should be able to get himself up to heavy infantry fairly soon. We are seeing player, he's about to be full iron here and getting himself Hand of Talos, and we are seeing, look at this, we are seeing Squash going for the start of these side builds, and we are seeing some villagers just simply going to move straight through the middle of the map, ladies and gentlemen. Squash just says, I'm just going to attack my opponent here. I don't care. I'm just throwing down a whole bunch of military buildings here, make my Myrmidon, get really, really big. We see Secrets of the Titans coming through for more now as he is not taking his foot off the gas one iota. Now, maybe, just maybe, I would have liked to have seen, instead of the Titan here, more go for full iron first, as he's going to have to deal with full iron coming through from player, but we'll see if this is going to work or not, as the military academies all getting dropped down in this location from player. He drops the temple first, and then the military academies will come up later. We are seeing player is actually helping out over on this location as well as spamming buildings everywhere. Player is one of the best pocket players I've ever seen in this game. You can just see the purple is just everywhere on his side of the map, and he is making it work given the situation that he's in. As we see these, the throwing action now starting to get their upgrades. The Ra battle ensuing over here as the Son of Osiris is going to be able to sit here for quite some time. It might be worth it to position the Son of Osiris back here, attacking only the melee units and allowing the chain lightning to carry through onto those heavy chariots as the best way to kind of position that unit there. As we are seeing the Herso pushing in onto this position from Ulysses, trying to figure out a position to get some side builds down. This side build still hasn't been spotted as player decides to throw the fortress down onto this position. We see the Titan Gate getting thrown up here by Moore as he's going to be utilizing that one to try and push in and take down Squash. Squash being Norse here, he can get a Titan Gate out, but it is a little bit more challenging. You need to have something like 100 villagers to kick it off, and then you need to make yourselves 20 Ulfsark or 10 Ulfsark to build the from villagers to build it up. So that pushes you over the population cap so you can hold and get the Titan Gate up at the same time while your opponent is struggling economically to do what he needs to do. Anyways, we'll see how it's all going to go as the Myrmidon trying to push in here. If Squash can hold this without the help of player's side build is going to be really, really difficult to deal with. As player dropping these military academies down beautifully. He's getting himself out the Silver Colossus. I imagine he's going to be able to upgrade those Colossus to gold when he so chooses. I wonder if player is going to go straight for this Titan Gate. That could be an option as well as Squash. Let's just check out Squash's economy here. Squash is sitting at full population here, so he should be fine. Line, he just needs to get his upgrades through in order to hold this position. It seems like he doesn't really have that at this position. We are seeing some cheeky raids coming through from Squash, making some Hersa on this position to hit Ulysses' dwarves here. Ulysses doesn't have much gold remaining, but really, I'll say it again, the actual play here is Ulysses needs to sit at something like 40 villages, and Chemo needs to utilize the 20 population that he gets from this town center that he's taken from Ulysses for trade route. So Chemo should be sitting at about 50 or 40 to 50 camel caravans and be tributing Ulysses gold for the rest of this game. That's literally the correct way to play in this situation. So I'm not sure if they're doing that or not. We'll have to check that in the post game. As we do see a cheeky, I don't know what we saw there. The Lampeter coming through here as the Citizen getting sniped down. And this Lampeter going to be able to pick off that other Silver Colossus here as the Heliopoli moving in onto this position, going to be taking down the temples over here. Now, Moore will be having himself architects already, so this does take a little bit of time, but picking off that temple will be able to prevent those Lampeter from doing anything here. So that's really smart. And here's the thing. Moore, he's going mass archers. He needs to calm down on the archers here. Get out Fanatics, get out Fire Siphon. These archers are not pushing units in the slightest. Arcus, they do okay. They're going to be able to hold this position forever, but you're not going to be able to push in here and win just yet. As we do see the Olsarks getting converted here by Squash in a bit of a desperate attempt to stop these types of side builds. We see the temple coming up for Ulysses. He's getting himself some Hersa out on this position, as greatest of the 50 is going to be coming through for Chemo, as this is going to be a really big changer in the fight on the Ra Mirror over here, because greatest of the 50 allows the spearmen to actually counter those mercenary cavalry really hard. As guard towers slowly starting to come up here, we see the dwarves coming over onto this gold mine onto the side of the map, as Chemo's still trying to get himself out more and more of those Fire Siphon here. And we see the units still pushing in here, still trying to deny this town center as Gold Line pushes through with some catapults here, trying to slow the Titan down as much as it possibly can. We see the red Titan on the way here for Gold Line. I imagine Chemo's going to be able to do the same, but Gold Line's economy is gigantic for whichever reason. Gold Line is sitting in a really good position economically here over Chemo, as Chemo has... Is he still making trade? Yes, he is still making trade, but I guess he has to tribute. But nonetheless, we see the Myrmidon trying to push through here, taking down this palace. You can see Moore still doesn't have those upgrades in the armor, and I was talking about this being that slight mistake here, I reckon, from Moore. He should have gone for the upgrades before going for this Titan gate, but not happening here, as the Titan just about to pop here for for Moore. We'll see if it's going to be able to be enough help here, as the catapult slowly chipping away at this town center, repairing it up with villages, and the Pharaoh basically means it's never going to go down. As look at this side build from Squash eventuating on this position. He's making Ballaster out. He's got Hersa. He needs to check the idle military tab. I've seen Squash's stream. Squash doesn't play with idle military tab on, so he might not realize that he is queuing Hersa into this hill fort, or maybe he's doing it on purpose. Who knows? But he might not notice, and that's going to be a really big problem for him to overcome, because Ulysses at this point, as well as Moore, is taking down this town center, and effectively Squash, he needs some units in here. We are seeing the Bellerophon taking down that siege weapon there. Nice play from player. He needs to pick off the battle board as well. Still 8. He's got 8 Hersa sitting inside of this hill fort for the time being. This town center getting taken down as well. We're seeing these villagers moving forward onto this position. Moore's forward town center is about to be falling here. This is absolutely huge for Team Fade 2, as they're going to be able to grab that town center back. I imagine player does have villagers over here. He's going to be able to move in and grab this one. We are now starting to see the Titan marching in here. We've got 45% on the way for Gold Lion's town center. A little bit slow, but he does have a ton of villagers over here. While that Titan is going up, we are seeing walls coming in onto this position for Gold Lion, trying to get the trying to keep his catapult nice and safe here. But with Chemo having catapult out onto this position, it's going to be really, really tough to make that work here. as the Titan moving forward onto this position. And we have seen that Squash did notice that his idols were coming through. This town center here for Ulysses is just about to fall here as well, as Chemo pushing in. He's gotten some champion axemen. He does have the Axe of Vengeance, that Horus upgrade, which allows your axemen to get bonus damage against buildings, and this is going to be able to clean the majority of this up. However, it's too little too late. Ulysses town center goes down. Ulysses down to 1 town centers for the time being, and that also means that the camel caravans will stop for the time being, which is very, very bad here for Chemo. He needs to get that sorted out, as we're seeing the Sky Passage of Moore getting dealt with, Moore getting pushed back over here as well. His armory is not sorted out at all, as Moore is deciding, let's push in onto, let's go as close to the enemy Titan as we possibly can. No, that's not where to go. You want to push in and pick off Squash's town center as far from that Titan as you possibly can go. But these buildings here for player are going to get taken down. We see player immediately rebuilding the temple over here, and Moore decides that the game is lost. At that point, he's lost his forward town center. He's lost his grip on the game. Ulysses is 0 town centers, and he feels that the game is just unwinnable from this, or just about to be 0 town centers, I guess, as this position is not going to be dealt with all too soon. But Moore decides, and Team Alliance decide, that is the game. What a comeback here from Fade 2. I mean, I do feel like the mistake here was more going Titan. That was the mistake. If instead of Titan, those 800 food, 800 wood, 800 gold go into armory upgrades, not only going into armory upgrades, but also go into more palace and go into more fire siphon for more. Such a weird name. I just can't deal. He would have been able to get out a ton of fire siphon and pushed Squash here. And Squash would have lost. Squash would have 100% fallen. Those Myrmidon wouldn't have been as much of a problem here. And the game would have probably been flipped. The script would have been flipped here. Because Chemo's not losing to Gold Lion anytime soon. Ulysses should have been fine here, but he was ignoring the side build going for this. He probably could have defended this and just pushed this back and then come back into this position, because he shouldn't really be dealing with Squash. He should be dealing with player in a way. But anyways, that's the game. Fade 2, too strong here in this one. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.